Before you say I do, there's something I think we don't talk about enough. Because the phrase, will you marry me, doesn't protect a covenant. Your actions do. And I'm saying this as someone who spent 25 years showing my kids what marriage looks like. They didn't learn marriage from Pinterest quotes, they learned it from everyday life. Not the highlight reel, the real thing. Let's talk about it.
Hey, Stephie Kay, got something to say. Talk that listens, clears the way. Truth on the mic, grounded in change. You sticking with that? Oh yeah, we sticking with that. Laugh it out, talk it through, we ain't looking back.
Some chats ain't easy, but we take it slow. Tough stuff tackled, now watch us glow.
Sticking with it. Yeah, we sticking with
it. Before we go any further, if you've been walking through big life conversations lately, you may know that I'm creating an ebook, a devotional, and some merchandise, all that center around choosing well, staying grounded, and protecting what matters. Keep visiting our website at youstickingwiththat.com for updates as they come through. Thank you for supporting this space. Here's something interesting. Most couples don't wing their vows anymore. About 3 out of 4 couples either write their own vows or customize them. Only a small percentage read a traditional script word for word, which tells me something. We care a lot about how we promise. We just don't talk enough about how often we'll have to keep choosing those promises because the vows aren't the problem. The problem is that no one tells you how often you'll have to re-choose them. You've probably heard the line that half of marriages end in divorce. That's not exactly true anymore. Today, about 40% of first marriages end in divorce, meaning the majority still stay together. And here's the part that matters to me. Among couples who are married today, about 1 in 3 make it to 25 years or more, and a meaningful percentage reach 50 years and beyond. That tells me lasting marriage is real, even if it doesn't always feel that way unless you've seen it up close. And I have, because longevity doesn't come from pretty words. It comes from what you do when the words get tested. My daughter Sydney got engaged on Friday, and that inspired this episode 5 for our podcast. And I just want to tell you a little bit about that experience. Her now fiance had planned to take her to Key West for the proposal. And then he had set up several surprises for her, including that. But then after that, when they returned home late on Friday, they had 12 people from Nebraska who had flown in to welcome them and celebrate their engagement with them. They were waiting at the house at midnight for their arrival. Then the next day, Saturday, he had a brunch lined up with parents who were surprising Sydney also. His parents were there, her parents were there, her brother was there, in addition to the friends that had flown in from Nebraska. And then lastly, he had arranged a dinner to be brought in to the house in the evening with the same group of people, plus all of their new local Florida friends. So I think in total, there were 39 people there in the backyard. He did a great job, great surprise. It was very, very, romantic. And it was just an amazing experience to be included in that whole engagement celebration as her mother. As I'm continuing to reflect on this weekend's events, it was making me very happy that Sydney is entering this next chapter of her life. I had a chance to ask her this morning a hard question, and that question was, how do you still believe in marriage since your parents are divorced? And she had been reflecting that as well because her grandparents are also divorced on both sides. And so many of us have this history of divorce, and yet we're wanting our kids to experience marriage and be successful at it. And how do we do that? And she said to me, she actually is wanting to try even harder because of our family history with it. And she said, even though her dad and I are no longer married, we gave her the stability and the perfect well, air quotes, perfect childhood and representation of a stable marriage through her childhood. And so she will use that going into her marriage. And she's very thankful for that. She saw two parents choose each other through seasons: stress, joy, growth, disappointment, and change. And that foundation didn't disappear just because life shifted later. And let me say this: kids know when you fake it. They know when you rewrite history. They know when you suddenly pretend marriage was either perfect or pointless. Neither is true. Here's what I want parents to hear, especially divorced parents. You don't erase the good years by acknowledging the hard ending. And you don't undermine your child's belief in marriage by being honest. You protect it by being integrated. The vows were real, the love was real, the effort was real, and so was the work. Longevity didn't come from romance. It came from choosing each other on days when love wasn't loud. It came from showing up, repairing, learning, and sometimes starting again the next morning. That's what my kids saw, and that's what matters. My friend Diane had asked me at one point what the secret was to a long marriage, and I would definitely say teamwork, and specifically working together as a team, is towards the top. I also think, in reflection, keeping God at the center of your marriage is the real and crucial key to success. I don't, as I say that, necessarily mean going to church every week, although I know for some that is key. I mean spiritually being connected, and that when times are tough and the struggles happen, that you lean on God and not others. Too many times, I think we consult the best friend or the sibling for advice, and sometimes we take advice that maybe isn't in our best interest. Whereas if, when things get tough, you refer to God only, that's a game changer, wouldn't you say? I don't know many people who do that, but I do believe that those who have been married the longest, if we were to ask them, that they would say God has been an integral part. I talked to my cousin Patty today, and they've been married 40 years, and she described marriage as a ball of yarn. So you have your ball of yarn, and then as you have kids and go about life, and you're going to have different stressors, of course, financial stressors, spiritual stressors, kid stressors, all the things, not liking each other all the time. It's a long time to be together, as we know. And you kind of, as you go, you unroll the ball of yarn and then you roll it back up. And you kind of unroll the ball of yarn and you roll it back up. She said commitment has been probably the key, staying committed. And one report that I did receive was that 70% of marriages end because of lack of commitment. So I found that to be very interesting. So if you keep your ball of yarn intact and just keep rolling it out and in, at the end of the day, it's still an intact ball of yarn. So maybe that analogy will help some of you. I would also add that parenting through this next chapter of our kids' lives looks different, obviously. And the question is, how do we work together so that these memories are good for Sydney and Grant? I think it helps when you're able to share space because, there's showers, wedding showers, there'll be baby showers down the road and all the things. And you want to be able to share in that memory together and, not have to have separate events. And I think putting the kids first is key to that. And I know for this dinner that we had on Saturday night for the engagement celebration, my ex-husband's girlfriend and I sat next to each other the whole night and had a great time. Before you say I do, ask yourself if your life is prepared to protect what your mouth is about to promise. Because covenant isn't guarded by ceremony. It's guarded by consistency. Just a reminder, You Sticking With That airs Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm really glad you're here. For your Stephie Kay thought of the day, I would like to say this. Helping your kids believe in marriage doesn't mean pretending it's perfect. It means letting them see that love can be chosen, honestly, imperfectly, and with integrity. The foundation matters, and so does how you honor it. Before you say, I do, pause, not because marriage is fragile, but because commitment is lived, not spoken. And when it's time to choose again, you already know the question. Stephie Kay, over and out.